What's up, everybody? It's Big Chonis. Happy Saturday to you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's good having you all here. It's been a very long week for me. I've had one of the worst chest colds of my life, but I'm on the road to recovery, about 70% there, but excuse me, just have a wicked cough still, but I got a lot of my energy back, and thank you all for the kind wishes and the good ideas about how to boost my immune system and whatnot. I appreciate that. So, anyways, you guys can find me on Twitter. I am at Big Chonis. These are all my best ideas. I take technical analysis very seriously. I'm a crypto trader, an investor, a mentor, a chart psychologist. Please do your own research. I want to talk briefly about my tweet here, my pinned tweet that I pinned and tweeted September 10th. Bitcoin will find a bottom and only and when a critical mass of people buy, hold, and keep loading Bitcoin, no matter what the price. When demand for Bitcoin exceeds supply, at what price would you buy and hold no matter what? And I do always ask that question. You guys can also find me on the Until 1 Million group. Lots of great packages there. We got a 3-month subscription, a yearly subscription, the Vamp package. And if you guys are also into Forex, we also do offer that as well. If you guys sign up for any of these packages, make sure you go down to the bottom where it says referral and put in the word Big Chonis. Much appreciated. All right, let's go to some Bitcoin here. So, kind of follow up on the video I put out earlier on Twitter. Excuse me. We got our channel here. Okay. Now I'm using just our closing bodies, which basically started here, ended up here, and we're still range bound in this flag. This is still a flag, right? Here's our pull. Here's our flag. Okay, but we're getting pretty stretchy here, pretty lengthy in our flag here, and I don't believe we'll be in this pattern, in this tightness, for very much longer, as I feel a larger move is definitely on the horizon. Now, EMA 12, EMA 26, these are two of the EMAs I like to use and watch how they kind of dance and interact with each other. And what we're looking at here is, we can see historically they're dancing when they bullishly break and when they bearishly cross, bullishly cross, bearishly cross, and they've yet to touch, and it's just not making things easy because I like to get that confirmation cross, and that basically will tell me that we can be bullish and or bearish for a certain length of time, and this sideways action has kept us very sideways. It's kind of rare. It's been a while since we've had this kind of very tightness here once again. Of all of my EMAs, like to use, here's my 55 up here, also acting as resistance. And you see where we did wick out to the penny here on the MA 100. I am on the Bitfinex exchange here, so I do want to keep note of that, as the MA 100 might act as something of an interesting resistance line as we're angled down here once again. Also notice our overall red MA 200 up here, still way up here. Okay, we got closer here, not so close here, and much farther are we here. So we keep talking about, is there a chance for a bull break here? And absolutely there is, but is there a bigger chance for a bear break? And I answer to that, I will still lean to the answer of yes, that there's a much better chance that this is going to break bearish than bullish. It's easier to break bearish. You don't need the money to come in to push this thing higher. And every time we do break higher, how many times do we keep selling off? Yes, I know we're putting in a higher low. We've been still, since when we're talking about here, right? End of June, right? Since the end of June, okay? Every time we've broken bearish, we've put in a higher low, but we've had to go all through these, big ebbs and valleys here. And now our ebbs and valleys are getting very small ebbs, very small valleys. And because of that, this larger move is imminent. So we'll go over some technicals to start, kind of see where we are on some higher time frames. Then we'll go into some lower time frames. We'll look at some market cap information, check out some other coins about how they're interacting with Bitcoin, and look at the longs and shorts as well. So daily chart. Let's just start with the candles themselves here, okay? I'm on a TD count here. We have a green 2, but it's a crappy green 2. Our daily TD has kind of been useless. on this particular time frame. So I'm just kind of hide that for just a moment here. Now our current candle shape, okay, I mean it's a bottom handle hammer candle without being at a bottom. This here is a bottom hammer, okay, but since we had this candle here, I mean, can you see any other candle? This one's a little close, but it had an upper wick that basically had a completely shaven top with a very long bottom wick. Ever since this candle here, it actually sparked our bottom and actually a nice bullish move there. So it's been very stable all day. Still find that support above here. And it's notable that all this bearishness got bought up. Bringing my volume here. There we go. And, with our volume here, we're basically watching the fact that today's volume, we have 4 more hours to go. So we're just about to finish up the 4-hour candle. And we'll definitely take a look at that in just a moment. But we are still, moderate volume. I will probably put in roughly a little bit less than yesterday. The volume's there, though. And this is still a bullish candle until proven otherwise. And I'll say that because if we are able to close like right where we are right now above my 2 EMAs with this wick and this volume after yesterday's slightly bearish spinning top here. I'll give it bearish because the upper wick was slightly longer, and I'll basically looking at this I'm trying to say here. Spinning top candles can basically, you can go either way is what I'm saying here. So this was kind of an either way candle, and basically we were like, uh-oh, going bearish here. But because this has currently been bought up and holding above my EMAs, it's still a bullish candle to me until proven otherwise. Now, I'm going to bring in our Bollingers here. We are so tight on our Bollingers. Now, what do I mean by that on our daily chart? Just from a how far spread are they from a price standpoint? They're like $600 apart there. Now, $600 apart might sound like a lot, but on the daily chart, we have not been $600 apart in tightness this year. Now, if I look at this one right here, $853. So even though that looks tight there compared to here, not so much. So we are really tight, tightest we have ever been, going all the way back this year. You have to go all the way back to, God, like right here, like July of 2017. So over a year since the last time our Bollingers were that tight. And I'll just kind of use this as a reference, is that the last time our Bollingers were that tight, granted this was, part of an uptrend, we had this kind of collapse here. We actually broke very bearish in that move, and then we actually had a lot of that bought up there in this June and July area. Now, I cannot compare this really to where we are at now in terms of historical, because this is at, this part of an uptrend. But kind of a similarity in what happened here, where we kept on finding a lower high. Okay, we kept on finding that stable area here, and then we broke bearish, very bearish, but that break in itself allowed actually a very nice bull pop move higher here. And this was the last time our bullies were that tight on the daily as they are now. Now we found support on our middle Bollinger Band. Found resistance when we wicked off yesterday on our upper Bollinger Band here. Okay, so I'll say it again. As long as we're above our middle Bollinger, above my EMAs here, okay, then we're channeling this area. Then I look to target at least the 55 next at 66.72, and then a retest of our upper Bollinger, which could bring us maybe as high as $6,800 here for a double tap of this upper Bollinger. Notice our lower BB is angled up here because of this buy up on this candle here. So that's still leaning slightly bullish. Now, when I say I'm leaning bullish, I'm not talking that we're gonna like do this, and of course that would be a green one here. I'm not saying that we're just gonna break out like nutso, okay? But what I'm saying is that until the bulls have a reason to capitulate, which I don't think they do yet, okay, they can still push this a little bit higher and retest these very key, very tight areas here. Now, as we know, our wick off place is here on September 22nd, and then yesterday, okay, was basically 6,800 and a hair over $6,800. Okay, so until $6,800 is broken and proven otherwise, that's what we're talking. Now that would put us a break and another test of our upper channel line here for a third time. Here, well, I guess really second time, but here and then here. Now our lower line 1, 2, 3 has also been tested 3 times and held so much. So to get to that upper line test, breaking through 2 more areas, our center resistance, our EMA 55, which is just about, I don't know, $100 higher than where we currently are right now. If we can get up there and close above that, we can definitely get up to like $6,900 here. And by that point, our flag, if we do that, we're talking like a couple days. I mean, it's going to happen in a couple days. We either fall through where we're unable to hold our lower channel support, and basically a break of 6,400 I think would be significant in this move here. Now, when we've broken on our daily, okay, especially here, that was a buying opportunity, okay? So even breaking down initially, depending upon how we do it, could still be an area where you want to set your longs in, and scooping up down in this 64, anything sub 64. The problem with that is that what happened last time doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen this time. And a break of this line, I'd look for that back test as well. So there'll be some sort of a bullish bounce opportunity on a bear break of this line here. Let me kind of illustrate it a little more like this. We do something like this, then we kind of pop up, retest our line zone. So we can go as low as probably a lower BB, maybe 61, 6,200, another few $100 bounce up, okay? But the rejection here, especially a close under this line, could then set this whole tone in motion here and a retest of our 2018 lows. That's our bear scenario if we're unable to get above our center line here, our EMA 55, and then we can definitely push that higher and retest one more time our upper channel line here, right around $6,900 here. Now, of course, to get that to happen, the kind of money flow we're going to need, okay, is going to be significant. And you have to ask yourself the question: when does a break of a higher low, when can that actually be confirmed? Because, for instance, this was our high, this was our higher low, this was our higher low, this is our higher low. But if we go up to $7,200, all right, and then get rejected here, we're still in a high lower high pattern. Okay, so even if we bullishly break and even get to like 7K or $6,900, it still doesn't make a difference really until we interact with our MA200 here, which has held us down ever since these firm rejections. Well, really here, here, and here. It basically flattened. It's been angled down ever since. A couple more flattening areas, but this is kind of like our mega resistance, area here that's going to continuously keep this prevented from, that any kind of major bull breakout. And we have to know, like, where is this miraculous volume, going to come from that's going to do it? Like, does the chart even really show that this is bullish, other than this slight higher low we keep putting on here on our lows, where yes, 58 to 6,200 is clearly being defended, whether it's by the exchanges, by the tether pumps, by the miners. These are consistencies that are happening here. But let's look at some other indicators and see kind of where we are at with those. Daily RSI. Let's zoom it on in here. Okay, so this is our most recent RSI pattern here. This was our top, this was our bottom, this was our triangle. Touch, touch, touch. We're right at 50, we're right at 50. How many times have I talked about 50 on the daily being that area where if you can hold above, we get into these zones here, okay? That's bullish. RSI relative strength, you're adding strength into it. I'm drinking brisk Cornholio, thanks for asking. Um, and that is going to keep us resisted here, but supported here. So this is, again, we're so tight in this apex zone of the major confluence of what can take us higher as we broadening out here. But we're putting in this high, we're putting in this lower high, lower high, lower high. So again, we're consistent in this pattern as well. That hasn't changed as well, but we're also putting in this higher low and this high. Well, this was the low, this was the higher low, this was the higher low. This tightening here, I give this deference. We can still go lower more here and still be putting in that higher low on the RSI. But I like that we're at 50, okay, and we notice how tight we are in this range here. Stochastic, this tells me, which was my curve, that we're holding this curve here. I'd say, I'll give you a little difference here. Oh man, I'm losing my voice again. And then this is our line here. Okay, so this shows, with the way these are angled here, that we could make one more attempt up here and retest this 100 with a double tap of bullishness. Okay, double tap of bullishness can get us up here, and that would bring you to, that would bring you to your target, 68.50 to 69.50. That here under 7K would top us off here and allow us to do some sort of a double top. Be a much broader one than this. This was a lot closer here in terms of days here, but can we see? Yeah, almost something like this here, where we went up, we came down about halfway, we went up again, and then we actually fell very bearish after that. So we could be setting up something similar to that, okay? Unless we start to lose our momentum here, which would definitely create a bear cross and negate this. But if we can keep this angle here, there we go, then we definitely have room for one more bullish pop before we have to basically come back down to our resetting areas on our daily stochastic MACD. Okay, we still got positive histograms here. That's notable. We still have our break, okay, of this triangle here that I'm a little. Let me get rid of this for a second. Again, the MACD, it's not my favorite indicator. It's always a trailing indicator. Even this right here and this right here. But we're breaking out. Actually, hold on. Let me get this really much tighter with the lower one. Something like that. Like that, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so listen, we're breaking through this. I mean, this is, in theory, what you would call a bullish breakout of this resistance triangle line, resistance, resistance, resistance. Okay, low histogram, though. Remember, this August, our July run, and then our end of August run, okay, and now this is our September run, like, strong, weaker, much weaker, right? This was a bigger decline, smaller decline, and we're getting closer to our decline time. That next tightening there. Remember, when we break a resistance line, we do tend to back test it before we see what's going on here. So, this is notable. It's not crazy big, earth-shattering notable because again, the MACD is and it's a laggard, and this is just. I'm using as high as this leading indicator got and down here. But this being very tight and being able to break through here is notable. We'll see if it can hold out and basically move forward, although I don't like the weakness of the histogram. OBV, the daily, it's pretty much still kind of in tune with the price action. You're not really seeing that much of a bearish divergence, although, this last little tick here is notable. There was some stronger selling in this last move, and we're not really seeing a lot of that buy up yet. And this is the most important one, I think. Not most important, but definitely important here. They're playing around with some angles here. And I kind of want to make note of, this is our Chaikin money flow. This is our daily chart. So this guy right here, okay, this was our This was our Bitcoin 20,000, right? Amazing, right? But prior to that, we actually had these two big dips here, one in August and one in September. And then after that, this was actually our um, March lows. This is right like 2 weeks, I guess it was like 3 weeks before that short squeeze we had. But you see these areas where we can get really bearish in the Chaikin money flow. Now, this doesn't really translate that broadly to the price action, but it shows a moment where the money just dries up quickly, and that is basically denoted by a very bearish moment, at least in the market. Um, Thusly, when we pop through here, this was as a very bullish area in the market. So we haven't had one of these in a while. And that's kind of why I want to bring this up and see this arc here we've been holding here, kind of playing around, trying to get just the right angle here. I'm pretty happy with what we got here. Where these breaks were breaks out of the standard deviation. This bullish break was a break out of the standard deviation. And these arcing angles here, kind of right there, is kind of what's held our range here. And we're once again up in that area there. Now, if I go look at this from like a horizontal point of view. Oops, that's not what I wanted to choose. There we go. So listen, 2018. Okay, I'm just gonna use the events of this year, and let's zoom in here and talk about these peaks on our Chaikin, and to see where we peak out when we break bullishly is right around this 0.2, right? So here was our February dump. This was our February bounce. This was our end of April. This was the end of our last bull run push at the end of from our April, beginning of May run. This was our end of July, last little push there. Kind of move in the market, flow momentum, and then once again, we're in an area here where we tend to wick out in terms of our money flow. Now, because we're here once again, hitting here, it would take a tremendous amount of unbridled bullishness to break this square and to break this angle and to put in something like this when we had billions of dollars flowing into Bitcoin. So I just am very skeptical that right now we can do something like that before we actually break another rung bearish. And frankly, I would like to see another bearish move outside of the standard deviation here to confirm, a better bottoming or buying opportunity. So, all right, that's the daily here. I still have a little bit of my voice left. Oh, I'm sorry, I could have done that earlier. I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me. All right, so hey, let's check on the chat room here. Hello to 103 of my closest friends. Jeanette, Brian, Juan, M. Hulls, Demetrius, Jonathan, MWM48, R. Gunner 87. I will check on that in just a moment, sir. I love Cornholio, LBC Machine Tools, Tom Power, Sarah S. Swartz, Micknick. What's up, guys? All right, so what is, wait, request universe head and shoulders on the Ethereum with rising volume. Could Ethereum try? Okay, so we'll definitely take out Ethereum. You look at short-term stuff. Yes, we can look on short-term stuff. Okay, so hello, Ali. Okay, so this is our daily, and before, sorry, buddy, before I get to our short-term stuff, I just want to bring up the weekly. Okay, it's Saturday. Tomorrow is Sunday. We close our week tomorrow. Okay, it's important to keep an eye on the weekly chart. Okay, it tells you the real story. It really tells you the real story. And what's telling me is that we're finding this resistance once again. EMA 12, 2 weeks in a row, wick off, EMA 12, Boom, boom. Can't get over it, okay? Now, here we found that as resistance. We broke way bearish. Then we shot through it and then got wicked out double time by my EMA 26. Again, almost to the penny, especially our last one here. Now we can't even get up our leading indicator. We can't even get past our leading indicator one. That's more bearish. Okay, yes, we're putting in higher lows, but we're putting in significantly lower lows because of what we're resisted here in terms of our EMAs here. And I do find that interesting. So what's next? What could potentially hold us up here? And I'll bring up the bollies in just a moment here. But this is our MA 100. Okay, currently at $5,400. And then look at our red one here, MA 200 at $2,900 here. Okay, and just for the craps and giggles, look at our MA 50. Okay, so our 100 here, but our 50 is way up here because it's still, you know, it moves quicker. Okay, and it could be topping off too. So there's all sorts of future crazy bear crosses that could happen in due time on higher time frames, such as the weekly here. Now let me just quickly bring up my Bollinger Bands here and see we are on the weekly reference as well. Again, our Bollies, tightest they've been all year. Okay, it's pretty obvious. Wouldn't take much as crazily wide they got here. Okay, but now we're just finding that resistance under everything here, under our middle BB, under all our EMAs here. Okay, note where our lower Bollinger Band is, $5,500. $5,600. Okay, so $5,600 where a lower BB is, kind of coinciding with our MA 100. Okay, so that's notable. If we break bearish, right now is a lot of support. This 54 to 5,500 initial test zone area on the weekly chart. And lastly, just real quickly, I wanted to do a monthly. Okay, note our Bollingers are nutso because our lower Bollinger is still in the negative, although slowly climbing. But I don't care about that. All I actually care about is our middle Bollinger. Okay, right there. That for 2 months we have found it as support. Okay, so that's good, right? We do like that. But we're now finding our EMA 12 right here as resistance sandwiched between the two. Which one breaks? Does our EMA 12 break, allowing us to get back to 7,100? Or does our lower Bollinger Band, which is held for 2 months as it's been touched to the T twice, fail? And that's currently at $6,100. We haven't wicked under it yet. So a break of 6,150 will be very notable because it hasn't happened yet, breaking through on a wick on the daily chart, on the monthly chart. All right, so let's go closer. Let's go real close. Let's look at a 15-minute and see what's going on here. Okay. Oh, that's a little phallic. Okay. Yes, the monthly is closing tomorrow, and that's a good point, Schwartz. That's why I brought it up, and that's why it's important to keep those bigger time frames in perspective, especially, and also tomorrow is the end of the third quarter as well. So we got a quarterly close, we got a monthly close, we got a weekly close, we got a daily close. You know, big stuff happening. Okay, all this confluence. So pretty tight here on the low time frames here. What are our volume? Now let's look at our volumes here. Okay, what are our volume spikes happen here? I don't care about the color. Okay, I care about the candle. Okay, so this here was a dump with low volume trickle up. These two candles, this one was a dump candle. This one was a bullish candle. It's let me get rid of my Bollingers. There we go. Yeah, this one here was a mixture with a slight lean to bullishness. Very high volume, spinning top with a longer lower wick. And when we had this stop loss hunter candle here, bull break. So this here did represent a bullish candle with bullish volume, though the actual volume and candle was red. But, you know, nothing really going on in terms of volume throw. Let me go to an hourly, get a little wider here. Okay, so what's resisting us right now? Well, wow, our MA 200, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going on our 6 hour. I mean, we keep wicking out at our MA 200 once we broke it bearishly there. Okay. Now it had been resistance here. We broke bullish. We found support. We found support when we wicked out here. Now it's resistance. Okay, so that's bearish. Hourly time frame. Let's see how wide our Bollingers are. Hourly Bollingers are still kind of wide. We see how they can get really tight. Notice the declining volume here as well. Where's our RSI? Mid-channel. Okay, so our RSI is mid-channel here. Kind of rolling over, but can't tell much here. You know, this could still break a little bit either way. We're seeing declining Chaikin money flow. I don't want to look at the OBV and the hourly. It's kind of meaningless on that low time frame. All right, let's go to our 4 hour. This is the one I like to use the most. It's my bread and butter. Still pretty wide on the 4 hour Bollies. Where is our... Let me change my color here. Let's go breaks. Actually, let's go step line. Good. Just so I can see it better, a little step line there. So, oh, look at that. Look at that. You can barely see it. Let me get really wide here. We are now up. Take that back. Right on our middle Bollinger. Right there in the price action of our 4 hour candle. Of our 4 hour Bollinger, excuse me. Okay, so middle BB, you know, resistance, support, support, support. So it's still holding us up on the 4 hour middle BB. Target 67.50, right? Let's break out of our upper BB once again. Remember, we can ride it, but they're still pretty wide here, so not that many candles can basically push it through. Ooh, I'm getting dry now. A couple more things here. You know, I did note that I like to see this bullish breakout of our recent OBV line here of resistance that I felt was pretty notable because it had held since July. But if I actually pull this back to there we go, a little bit of a wider scope here, we're still kind of range bound in this overall area. I can take this a lot farther out, kind of give a little deference to this underperforming area, and actually note a larger resistance line here, underperform, and now once again we're back to here. Again, this is area where we constantly fail and fail to bust through, if you will, so far. So another resistance area nonetheless. Real quick here. This is Bitcoin CME futures contracts 4 hour chart. Closed. They open again Sunday at 6 p.m. East Coast time. And I don't see any gaps in the 4 hour chart. I don't see any gaps in the 4 hour chart. Now, I've had a couple questions, people asking me on lower time frames. They are finding gaps. I believe there was one that was mentioned on the 3 hour. And yeah, I see one here in the 3 hour, $6,400. And I bet you if I went to the 1 hour, yeah, there's a little one right here at $6,700. So there's no real science to this. I like to use the 4 because you'll find more gaps on the 1. You'll find a lot more gaps on much lower time frames. This movement on the CME is choppy sometimes in terms of there's actual lulls on the price action as a whole. It's not a very mature market. So I do find the 3 hour, at least that gap on it, notable if it is really the only gap in the chart in the 3 hour. And once again, I'll just mark it here. It's right here. Okay, now we had this gap here before. This guy got closed by this price action here. And guys, just to price label it here, right there. So just to kind of briefly describe as why these are there and kind of why I think they're notable and important is gaps are created for 2 reasons: quick price action movements, or the closing and then opening of a market. And in between that closing and opening, the price of Bitcoin has significant movement. that will cause something to gap up or down. You always see this in stocks a lot, either on the weekend or after hours news comes out. As we know, Bitcoin is 24/7, 365. Drive us all a lot of nuts, and we all have a lot of our sleepless nights. But because of that, there are a couple instruments out there that do close, like stocks do, and do have quick movements in the volatility setting like stocks do. And this is one of those charts. And the reason I feel the gaps are important is because every gap gets closed. So this gap here, okay, it took 5 days, whoop, whoop, but it got closed. And because I knew it was open, I knew that at some point, even though we were up here, we had to get back down to here to close the gap. And sure enough, that's what we did. Haven't been a lot of gaps much since then, but even though I'm on the 3-hour, and I don't remember who pointed this out to me, but yeah, I do find this valid. And a gap that needs to be closed at 63.88-ish or so. I wouldn't go lower than the 3-hour though. I really like to use the 4-hour. And you see in that area here, on the 4-hour, you don't really see that as a gap there. But I'll give deference to the 3-hour chart as well. We haven't done longs and shorts yet, so let's do that. And then maybe a quick ETH, and I think I've got to wrap it up because I'm getting a little tired, a little scratchy in the throat here. Okay, so Bitcoin longs. We're going to do a comparison. Shorts. EOS came back, yeah. Oh, look at Ethereum shorts here, guys. Just a quick reference. Up 30%. Okay, Ethereum short contracts right now up 30% today. Okay, someone's bearish on Ethereum much. All right, let's zoom this puppy out. Let's go to daily. Let's go to day. Let's go to 6-hour. Screw it. Let's go to 6-hour. All right, so let's get zoomed out here. Perfect. Okay, so this is our long. This is schlongs. This is our longs, and this is our shorts. And let's get this freaking thing out of here. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Okay, so nothing is really overextended, and overextending is what can help us create bigger moves up or down. So I don't really see anything as very overly extended, and that's good, I guess, in terms of like a healthiness of the market. We did break bullishly from this defaulting wedge on our longs, right, which was nice to see. Not sure what that's doing there. And we're finding this support here, right here. Now I'm going to get rid of this descending wedge here because that pattern is basically done. And what do we got here? Do we get some? That's not really a good looking H&S. So we were going pretty good with our longs there. This was a pretty steep sell-off here, or liquidation of our long contracts. Now our short contracts, these are both our 6-hour charts, so still very tight in its price action, okay? Rising a little bit, but the only thing that matters to me in the shorts contracts is that retest and breakthrough into our all-time high zone here. Rejection, rejection. I remember this candle here, rejection. But we're still hanging out here, I don't really see this yet as a triple rejection, some sort of a triple Lindy rejection, okay? This is still our all-time high way back here in April, okay? We shot up here, okay? We shot up here, and then we came way back because we went too bearish there. But we're still hanging around this area here, and we could very quickly and very easily shoot right back up. And longs have definitely come a ways here, okay, but we're still so mired into still not bullish yet. Long contracts are not bullish yet in any major comparison, and the price action is showing that. Also, look at this really strong rejection we had on our MA200 here. Really strong, and they actually put us to a lower, well, bearish engulfing from that candle. So this is today's candle. This is our daily here. That's really nasty. It's like our nastiest daily long candle. What's our daily short candle looking like? It can't be that bullish, can it? It's not bad either. So we currently have a bullish engulfing on our shorts, which is bearish for Bitcoin. We have a bearish engulfing in our longs, which is bearish for Bitcoin. So I see this as bearish. I see this as bearish. There you go. All right, let's go back to our one screen. Let's do a little Ethereum, and I got to wrap it up, guys. My throat is getting dry. All right, so let's pick a chart, any chart here. So let's see what we got going on here. All right, so the first thing on the daily chart, okay, is volume here, right? Crazy volume. What does this volume mean? Now, let's talk about it. Okay, talk about capitulation volume. Talk about volume that you see at the end of a run or the bottom of the market. Okay, this. I don't like. I guess I could try and see this as bottoming volume, but I more see this as like a liquidity increase. In that the dumping of so much ether onto the open market from all the ICOs that all of you people sent your Ethereum to in exchange for their tokens, a tremendous amount of people's piggy banks of Ethereum were just emptied on the market. So, yes, this volume was crazy, but because it's so spread out in its volume, you're just seeing this as just massive liquidity in the market, meaning there's a lot of liquidity out there with moderate buying pressure, but you know, it's still bearish. We're still finding that resistance on my EMAs here. Next target will be my 55 at 272. I'll even go to my Bollingers here. We're tighter. Okay, we're angled slightly bullish here. Okay. And you know, our volume is lessening. We can hit our RSI. RSI, look at that, right at 50 again. Okay, 50, 50, 50. Got to break 50, nifty 50. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, we have one more run here. We can go one more little pop. Obviously, 250 is still that major resistance for Ethereum right now. And of course, Bitcoin runs the show. We do know our Chaikin money flow. It's rising. Okay. And we see where we can wick off when we get up here. It's interesting. Boom. So I like, you know, we found resistance, distance, support, resistance. Then we're right on it there. So I actually see that as a resistance line there. Daily Stoke, just like Bitcoin, has room to go a little higher here. Still bullishly crossed. You know, our MACD is still angled the proper direction, but still in a bearish continuum down here. All right, guys. I'm out of breath. But thank you so much for joining me. Let's go quickly back to our Bitcoin chart and see what's the deal. Let's go low time frame. Actually, let's go to our BitMEX here and just get a very tight. Actually, let me go BitMEX, but let me bring in my volume. Where's my XBT? There we go. All right, so let me just get rid of my Bollingers and let's go. Let's keep it the 15 here. So just keeping it real tight and real tight in our short term. Okay, just to get a sense of kind of where we're at here. Okay, this is basically the last 10 days on a 15-minute chart here. Okay, here's our nut high, 68.30. From our bottom wick there, okay, we are still right there. That's our linear plane. Okay, like right there, guys, to the wick. This is our linear plane of support. Okay, now yes, we have put in from here this lower high here, but I think we can still break that and hit this here as an ascending triangle rather than a tightening wedge. So I'll do something like that. Actually, that makes more better. So even though we hit here, I think we can get to here, 68 again, 67. Let's see here. A, B, I mean, is this what we're doing here? C, D, E. Now, E normally does something like this and then turns over down to that, if that's the actual count going on here. But we could possibly get, well, no, I take that back. I mean, if this is it, then yeah, then this is kind of it. Maybe a trickle up to, I don't know, maybe a little higher, but this could roll over very quickly here. And especially if we break this linear angle of support, which means a bear break could still put us to 60, let's just say $6,500. If we break $6,500 on a wick that's held from past 10 days, right? Here, 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 and here, okay? We touched up here twice. We touched down here thrice. A fourth time, you know, I'm not liking it. Okay? So, either way, though, you know, if you're playing it either way, you know, if you're doing a short-term scalp, if you're long, you're already in. Like, you don't care. Like, you make this easy. Like, I've been, you know, you're just buying now, you know, and if it drops, you're just buying more. But we see where we topped off last time. You know, yes, we've broken through, but it's kind of meaningless really until you put in something more than just these rejections here. Remember, we can get still as high as $7,200, $7,300 and still be putting in a lower high. Okay, even though that would be a very notable bull break, it would still be putting in a lower high. That's why nothing of real Bitcoin significance really matters until, you know, a major break of these major resistances. And we really going to be talking about, you know, over 8K. You know, if we can get ourselves over 8K, then we can talk about major resistances becoming major supports once again. That's very important. All right, guys, I'm about out of voice here. Thank you so much for your kind words. Remember, you guys, to find me on the Until 1 Mil. Refer code Big Chonis. Guys, find me on Twitter. I am at Big Chonis. I'm still offering my mentoring. I had to push a few of my appointments to next week, for last week to next week, because I just couldn't have the energy to talk. But I wanted to come back with you guys today. I've been off for YouTube for several days and I missed it. I missed interacting with you guys and just kind of sharing my thoughts on Bitcoin here. So we will try and keep you guys posted and stay tuned. Tomorrow, big day, as I said, end of the month. Monthly candle close, weekly candle close, daily candle close. These don't happen that often, actually, right? When was the last time we had the month and the weekly close the same day? It's been, I'll have to research that one there. I'm not entirely sure, but that's interesting. And, you know, right now, what is our monthly candle looking like here? And right now it's some sort of a bearish spinning top doji here. You know, and it doesn't show you any kind of a bottoming. Long bottom wick, longish top wick, lower volume here, finding resistance under my EMA 12. You know, but this will close tomorrow and we'll open a new one, start a new month, start a new chapter in Bitcoin, October 2018, right? So until then, guys, I'll leave you guys with the very tight price action here of our current Bitcoin candles here. Till then, talk to you guys soon. Peace out. Big Chonis says, what's up?